Welcome to Cavetalk. Oh, I forgot. Y'all supposed to know that, man. Listen up, everybody. Welcome back to Cave Talk. I know I missed last week. Guess what? I've learned I don't have to be perfect. You hear me? Last week was just so busy. I recorded and I did a recording and I didn't like it. And I started rushing myself. And I was like, look, hey, I said, you know what? I don't have to put it up. That's the thing I'm learning was that if I don't like it, it ain't got. I don't have to fit the bill. And there might and y'all might some people might be like, well, look, if you're gonna grow, if you're gonna get bigger with this, you got to make sure you get it done. Well, guess what? I didn't put one up. I didn't get it done. I'm okay with it. But welcome back, man. I'm here by myself, and I still I still haven't finished talking about the thing with dating, and I want to make sure y'all follow us. I'm sorry. Make sure you go follow us on our Instagram, Matt Cave Talk, and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and we're going from there. But listen up. There's so many topics that are on my mind, and I still haven't brought everybody back and posted the one about the first date. The last one was with my daughter, man. Y'all got to go check that out. It was amazing. I mean, so many views. People are talking to me about it, and want you to go check it out. But look, I want to just this one won't be long. Listen, have y'all got your hat yet? I hope you got your hat, so you can join in with me and everything. I'm still interviewing hosts, man. I'm still interviewing hosts. I want somebody again. I still want to make sure nobody's scared of me, because they've looked at my profession all my life. They're not afraid to talk to me. They might say some things that the average audience can't handle, but we're gonna still make it happen. And I'm real close to making some decisions, and I think I've come to the conclusion I may have just different hosts at different times and going from there. Well, look, I want to jump into a couple things. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. This might be a little 20-minute. This might be a 5-minute podcast this week. But look, one of the hottest topics this week: Sean P. Diddy Combs. Man, look, this thing has gotten major news this week. Major news. For those that may not have heard about it, they raided both of his homes, one in LA, I think one in LA and then one in Miami, looking for some evidence of sex trafficking and firearms, some other charges and everything. And let me be honest with you. I watch it, I see it, I kind of try to stay abreast of things, but then honestly, sometimes I just kind of veer away from everything and stay in my lane and and not even get involved too much. But I can give you my opinions about some things, and then there's some things I'm just like, hey, is it worth it? But one of the things I did want to talk about with that situation, and I know it goes all the way back. I remember when this thing started hitting and it started talking about Bishop T.D. Jakes, and of course, and it started talking about all his different parties and things like that. Well, the first thing I got to tell y'all, I had never heard it in my life. I had never heard it, anything about his parties and all this. And I'm a music guy. Can't tell you that he's not a phenomenal artist and doing music and producing and all that stuff. And I had never even heard none of these things about the parties. But you know what I said? I was having this conversation with somebody. Let's just keep it real for a moment. whatever was going on at the parties, there's a difference between celebrities and average people as myself. And Of course, a platform is different. But let's have this conversation. An average person being able to be invited to a party, don't act like you wouldn't have went to the party. Now, now let's keep it real. If it's somebody of, don't act like that we're not starstruck about celebrities at all. Um, Whether there's celebrities that are still starstruck about celebrities too. And I was having this conversation with somebody. I said, "Look, if I'd have been invited to the party, who would say I wouldn't have went? I probably would have went too. I'm not. I definitely would be honest with you, not participating in some of the activities that was going on. That's the facts. But let's be honest. If you was invited, you probably would have went. Now I know you're not gonna be honest. I told you this is the platform where we're coming up here to share our different views. It's open transparency, and we're able to sit down and have those dialogues. And look, we can agree to disagree. But I'm just telling you what I think. Everybody that's an average individual, if you know someone that's famous, I've been around famous people, especially mostly famous ball players and things like that. I'm still starstruck sometimes, even now. Coaches, basketball players, football players, and just different people. I mean, let's just be honest about it. We all starstruck, but there's a difference between celebrities and average people from the perspective of this. Money makes a difference. Money makes a difference, and and the reality of it is, I think a lot of people like notoriety. A lot of people like it. And with you having money, money comes, having money, you have money problems. And I think that's the piece that we don't talk about and much. And like I say all the time, y'all know my famous quote: if you get what you want, guess what? You also gonna get what you don't want. So having that little conversation about what's going on with P. Diddy, I hope and pray you with the sexual assaults. I hope and pray those things aren't true. If they are, I guess the courts take things into their own hands. I mean, you always judge in the eye of the public opinion. You already found guilty about everything. And then here's you know what? Here's a question. Here's a question, and give me your opinion about it. Can people recover from rumors if things aren't true? I think that's a pretty good question. You know, especially from a celebrity or a platform standpoint. And some things are true. That's the reality. Some things are true. There are some things about that people have said about you that are true. There's some things that people have said about me that are true. Here's the question: can you recover from rumors, career wise, mentally, emotionally? You know, there's some careers I know, especially in the career that I've held in the church world. Um, and I say it often, and I get into this, and I know I walk a thin line, tread water. You know, there are things, and especially in this climate of how the church is into such a different place. And I, you know what, a lot of times you can't recover because what people think about you, they've already had their opinion about it. So they've already had their opinion. They've already come up with how they view you, and the reality of it is, some people won't let you recover. Um, they will never let you recover. They'll never let you get to that place where you can get out of it or what have you. So at the end of the day, I guess you got to recover yourself and you got to keep moving. But I do know money makes a difference. Money makes a difference. At the end of the day, money makes the world of a difference. So And I'm thinking about this thing when it comes to the church, and one of the topics that um, I want to talk about when it comes to the church. You know what? Before I go there, I want to make sure we pray for the families of those that have lost lost lives in this ship that crashed into the Baltimore Bridge. Let's make sure we send our thoughts towards them and their families, and people that lost lives, the tragedy, or what have you. Let's pray for the city of Baltimore, and pray for that they can recover quickly, and move on from there. But we're definitely praying for the people who have lost family members in this sad tragedy of the ship that crashed into the Baltimore Bridge. All right. One of the topics that people asked me to talk about, and here to get these hosts up here to talk about it, was um secular music in church. Secular music in church. Y'all know I'm gonna get in trouble with this. Um, I guess you can call things secular, but I don't kind of look at it as everything is secular. My thing is music is music. There's music. I think you can use music in all facets, in all contexts. You can change the words, and it depends on who you're singing it to. It depends on you know your intent behind it. That's one of the things I believe in. I've been singing and writing music. I've written, produced it all my life, and when I was traveling a lot, I would take a lot of the secular songs and flip them to the gospel songs. And what I'll do is change the words, because the reality of it is, it all depends on who you're singing it to. Hey, and I gotta admit this: there are a lot of gospel songs that are depressing. I said it and I meant it. There are a lot of gospel songs that are depressing. If all I got to hear about is get going through, I'm down and I'm all this, man. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even listen to a lot of the gospel music. I'd rather listen to something that's going to uplift me and all this, because it's kind of like throwing a pity party for yourself and you going through all that. So I kind of figured, look, you can take music. I think that goes all the way back to, you know, um, Bishop William Murphy. A lot of people were having a lot of comments, and I'm gonna talk about that for a moment. About when he did the was it what is it, swag and something, so I don't know, y'all know I don't know anything about it, but and a lot of people were saying that the church has changed. Let me be honest with you, the church has changed. um the church has changed, but listen to this, so have you. um so has the commitment to church change. Growing up in my era, people went to church on a regular basis. Church for the black families when I grew up, for black people, was a place of hope. It was a place of getting the fire you needed for the week, and you were able to leave that week and be like, "Hey, I can face whatever I'm gonna deal with." But now, church, the commitment level is different. And I know the church go through a lot of bashing, and rightfully so in some things. We have it, but I do believe this. I think a lot of times we've painted such a perfect picture of church. We've painted, we attempted to make people think that once you got become born again and saved, that you didn't have no more challenges. The reality of it is, that's when your challenges start. But I think the commitment of church has changed. I think a lot of things about church has changed. Music's changed. But I think it's very important that you understand what church is for. Church is for the renewing of your faith. Church is for um, understanding who God is. And I know a lot of times in our culture, as a black church, as black churches, and of course we did a lot of emotional things, and I think we're trying to turn that curve where it's not just emotional, that people can understand what the Bible really means and what it meant, because a lot of things that we were taught, it just didn't make sense, from the angle of how we saw it and how we believed it and even how it really is. So yeah, it's changed. So I think a lot of times we find ourselves reaching to try to accommodate people and reach people. And no, I know some of you are gonna come at me and say, you know what, we don't have to compromise and all that. But when you when you're trying to reach people, you got to do different things. I say this a lot. The church is one of the main places that's always about 20 years behind, about 20 years behind with culture, 20 years behind in what we need to do. And by the time we catch up to the 20 years, they already gone here another 5 years. So I think music is important. So when it comes to Bishop Murphy, um, I believe I know his intent. I believe I know his what he desired to do. That doesn't make any excuse. And again, guys, this is a platform where we can agree to disagree. It's not about you trying to get angry. We can get fired up at it. We can get fired up. We can go back and forth. I'm good with it. I'm not gonna hate you afterwards. I hope you don't hate me. If you do, that's on you. But I think I know his intent. I look at it like this, man. Um, would I have done some things different? I may would have. I know I would have, because I'm not him. He's not me. So that's one of the misconceptions that people always say. Well, if I was in this position, I wouldn't have done it this way. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. You get up there and you get to flowing. Sometimes we veer off, and I tell our church all the time, "Hey, hey, y'all get to going with me. I might get stuck and go out there this way. I just be like, look, forgive me. Let's move on." So that's why I don't paint no perfect picture and go from there. And for any pastor, preacher, and whoever you think you are, that you think you don't get off base sometimes, well, you know you already lying. You're a liar. And don't try to play it. I tell people all the time too. Be afraid of anybody that they be afraid of anybody that think they're the only people right. Everybody else is wrong and they're the only people right. You know, your way of it, you are not the standard. I'm not the standard. Um, I just try to point people to Christ. And I believe in progress, getting better. Sometimes we fall back. We fall back into things. Sometimes we just addicted to some things. We have habits. And I told the church a few weeks ago, man, life is about the church and the body of Christ. The scriptures about, he tried to teach us about excess and not access. Anything we do excessively is what becomes the problem. That it has nothing to do, with a certain type of sin. If you talk too much, that's a problem. Ain't no different than screwing, or whatever else, whatever sin you want to bring up, when you don't understand it. This is the weekend going into Easter. Sin was canceled and cut over 2,000 years ago. If I believe, I'm going to heaven. It doesn't mean that I don't face the consequences of what sin does, but at the end of the day, he canceled sin, and I don't want to get into all that. Um, because I can go down a whole pathway of that. So yeah, church has changed. So trying to bridge that gap, I think the theatrics of church. Um, Sometimes we do them. I've done it. Um, I've seen the times. A matter of fact, this coming weekend, I'm gonna be able to bless some people. I've seen times I've done some things I shouldn't have done at church. It is what it is. I'm not saying that so casually, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to let anyone um, hold me so tight to a standard that you can't even keep yourself. This is my motto. If you didn't carry your cross, if you didn't get a thorn on a crown of thorn on your heads, if you ain't got pierced in your side, you really ain't got too many rights to really judge me. And that's why I try my best, and that's why I make sure that I keep all my judgments away from people, because at the end of the day, all of us are nothing when it's in his sight. So so I want to encourage y'all. Keep being creative. Like I'm doing this platform here. Some people don't care for it. They're like, hey, you need to stick with just the topic of church, but that's not what it is. I'm talking about whatever I feel. I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about what everybody encounter, man. I'm talking about popular, some of the trending stories. So it's not like I'm gonna sit here and act like I'm so obsolete and I'm not living life and going through that kinds of things too, man. Guess what? It is what it is. I'll have some Skittles. So check this out. Um, I'm gonna cut this off real quick. I want to throw this up here to y'all. Look, so don't sit back and judge the church and try to make the church perfect. And then you want to make all of the accusations of this is why I don't go. Look, that's some straight up bull. No, you don't go to church because you just choose not to go. Because at the end of the day, you still go to work. Because there's some bull at your job. You still go home to your family. And your family got some bull at the house. You go to the family reunions. You got some friends that's got some bull, but y'all still hang out. So, man, cut that crap, man. Cut that bull jive about how you don't rock with the church no more. I don't deal with preachers no more because they doing this and they doing that. Well, guess what, man? He never made it where the preacher was the standard. He made the preacher as a voice for him. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't be allowing nobody making anybody else a God but God. All right. Y'all don't want me to get down that soapbox and go down that avenue. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody. There's no one that but God himself. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess. So don't make no man, no woman the God. You still stay connected to the church and you still stay connected in your relationships with God. Guess what, man? It's in him we live. And in him we breathe. So I just want to encourage somebody, man, look at it from that perspective. And quit letting people influence you, stand in your ear. You so weak to let people. You know what? This is another thing I want to talk about real quick. And I'm done for tonight. I'm done for this podcast. You got to quit this hatred, man. Just pure hatred. Life is too short just to sit around in pure hatred. Look, I don't like some people either. Let me come from around this mic. I don't like some people either. Some people don't like me. It is what it is, man. I don't like you either. It is what it is. But guess what? We're not sitting around here and just trying to live a life of hatred. I'm so bothered by how we can then sometimes you hate people and you don't even know them. You going on what somebody say. You going on what somebody feel and think and hating them. And at the end of the day, you ain't got to hate them. You ain't got to rock with them. You don't have to live with them. You don't have to. They don't pay your bills and all that, man. Get past all that. Get past all that, and let's try to figure out how to get this bag and try to make this money. When you look at that stuff that P. Diddy went through and going through, they raided both of his homes, and what they say is he got on his private jet and flew to another island or something. Man, look, I'm trying. Hey, come on, let's have a real conversation, average people. Let's learn. Let's try to get that bag to where we ain't got to go flee or go somewhere because of something. Excuse me, but let's be able to say, look, you know what? Let's go be able to have some fun and enjoy our life that God has given us. All right. Look, next week you tune in. I think it's gonna get a little bit more interesting next week. But I wanted to come up here and share that with y'all, man. Just kind of throw some stuff out there with you, man, and just let you know, lock back in, do what you're supposed to do, love each other, man. Let's live this life and enjoy what we're doing, and do our best to try to get past the pain, the hurt, and the bitterness of how life try to treat us. Because I keep telling y'all, once you get bitter, it turns it all. You start hating and envy. Man, that thing can turn into some serious rage. and quit hating people because somebody else didn't turn you against them, man. You don't know. They're telling you one side of a story. All right. Listen, I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in for these little 25 minutes of listening to me. Hey, go subscribe to Cave Talk, and guess what? Submit your name because I'm about to make that choice on some hosts, man. I'll holler at y'all. Peace out.